Hello and welcome to Leaders Lounge, the signature fireside chat series from Quantum Dialogues. I am Mudit Vyas, Group Editor at Quantum Dialogues, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with a technologist whose resume reads like a blueprint from digital disruption. Our guest is currently Chief Technology Officer at a private wealth management fund and is more than 15 years experienced in transforming programs across banking, fintech, Web3, and AI. From steering multi-cloud migrations at RackBank to shaping data governance, decentralized finance initiatives, he has consistently pushed the boundaries of what scalable, secure innovation looks like. He is a World CIO 200 award winner, a UAE Golden Visa holder, and above all, a leader who turns emerging tech into real-world value. Leonid, welcome to Leaders Lounge. It's a great pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Mudit, for inviting me for your event.
Thank you so much. To begin with, I would like to give a small perspective about what we are, what we do. Quantum Dialogues is a concern with NGenious solutions. We are a technology firm. We work with leaders across the globe, and Quantum Dialogues as an initiative is to interact with world leaders like you, CIOs, CTOs, to understand your mindset about how you are driving digital growth in the organizations and across the platforms where you work with. Now, to begin with, we would like to know more about your journey. How have you progressed along your way? And we want to know what has the journey been like, and how have you approached various hurdles that you faced in your journey. So, no, you've built a remarkable career at the intersection of banking, fintech, Web3, and AI. So then this is very diverse. And all of these are very interlinked in today's world. But when you started maybe 15, 20 years ago, it was very unlinked. Nobody was thinking about AI. Fintech was something which people were looking forward to, but were not really very eager to touch technology and finance at the same time because the disruption it might begin, come with, or how technology would expose the data and everything. So can you share a moment in your journey that has shaped your leadership approach, and how all of this has transpired?
Okay, Mudit. I think the biggest shape and change in my career was when I was at the age 26, and actually I was appointed as the IT country manager at the biggest oil and gas major company in the world. So I was heading, from Russia to Libya. It was the big responsibility for me, and I immediately was in the shape, like surrounded by the people who have way more experience than me. Like my direct manager was the general manager, and he also before he was the ex-ambassador for one of the countries, in the Arabic world. And the senior leaders was like 20 years of experience at Baker Hughes, like 30 years of experience in Halliburton. And when you're surrounded by people like this, you started, to gain their experience, knowledge, their approach to management of the contracts, relationship with vendors, and negotiations. And for me, like a 26-year-old guy, it was the big responsibility and the fast learning curve. And I think by this age, I feel this big amount of responsibility. I think it's the major quality that you have as the leader to take the responsibility for your team, for your project results, and for your performance.
Okay. So it would have been really interesting, because I've been to Dubai a few times. I've been to UAE, probably 4 or 5 times, and I see that the cultural shift is very big, even if you come within Asia or from Europe. So, how do you think adjusting with them, was it a challenge in terms of getting things done, or was it more of a challenge to get on their level and understand how they work and how that works?
Actually having, also I have a really vast international experience before coming to UAE, and I think it's going to be working the same way. But the major shift here from the other world is the personal connections, relations, establishing relations, building them, and most importantly, the people likes to work on prem. They don't want to like in the online. They want to have you on prem. They want to know you and want to understand what are you doing. And during this time, you start, to build this kind of you communicate with people. You understand their goal settings and try to solve them. And they also one important thing, you have to be professional here. Yeah, he likes, the good professional. It's the market of the professionals. They expect from you this level of seniority. You have to work independently. You have to be professional, you feel.
Absolutely. We're losing the personal touch these days because of the online game and everything. And markets like Asia and Middle East, they bring you that personal touch a lot. So one more question which I wanted to ask was, no, you've led large scale cloud and AI transformations. Now, what do you see as the biggest challenge that leaders face when modernizing infrastructures? And how can they overcome it? And what would be your go-to strategy to set goals? How do you make sure that your team is also on board with that big change of modernizing infrastructure? It could be very your teams could be very resistant to change because they are very used to or accustomed to all of the technologies and platforms that they're using. So how do you go about that? And as you've already said that you had worked across Europe and then Middle East. No, so different mindsets, different liking to technology change. Now, how do you, deal with or cope with that?
Yeah, I think the major part in this is the leadership support, the senior management support. For example, when you take a lead on the program, it has some place in the strategic company portfolio. For example, like it was in Ragbank. And when you have all your senior leaders support you, for example, you lead some compliance project, and this compliance is like you cannot miss on this project. That's why all the senior leaders gonna support you, and they support you in the way of resources, like helping you to solve all of these internal process procedures faster. For example, contract management inside the organization. So you have to again in the UAE, you have to speak with them, show them that you are capable to do some project, and they will give you support. And then you go and work with your team personally with the team and try to communicate this idea to them. If they don't want to understand, or for example, they don't have time to understand, you go to their managers, try to communicate with them, you sync them, and make also one of the good things is to make some kind of big events like with one that we do with AWS. It goes like migration parties. So the vendor, there's a special program, 3-day program. You just concentrate all the people in one room and try to reach the certain amount of goals during these 3 days. And they actually help to boost, this kind of curve. And then the people, they understand, okay, I have some backlog, some tasks, there's important projects, I go on it.
Okay, that's great because I've had multiple conversations with CIOs and CTOs. The only thing which they are at loggerheads is with management or senior management. If it's a supportive senior management structure, then getting things done is pretty easy. And then it's always top down. So once the management understands what you want or what your next steps would be and how are you taking the company to the future, then it becomes a lot easier for understanding. So that has been a constant source of knowledge for me whenever since I've started discussing with leaders like you. So the other thing is that innovation. How do you keep yourself motivated and to understand that you have to bring innovative mindset and foster a culture of innovation and change within the teams, especially when you are dealing with a lot of complex regulated industries where there is a lot of data, where there is a lot of information which could be potentially at risk when you are doing innovation within the teams, migrating a lot of data or moving on to a lot of new platforms. And then how does working in a multicultural or environment where there are a lot of people with a lot of different nationalities and different mindsets when they come along, how does that how do you make sure that you are somebody who does not push the perspective, but make sure that people are on board?
Yeah, of course, Marie, there are some big cultural differences between the different people from the different countries. Some of the people there prefer more straight communication. Another one, they like them, they want they like you to praise them or for something. But one common thing that I found out, especially it's here in the Dubai, that as long as the people are the good professional in their field, they gonna like sort of communicate the same language. For example, are you an engineer like from Russia or from US? You're gonna be communicating well with the Indian engineer at the same level. You're like Cisco engineer, you do know this kind of technology. You're gonna communicate it perfectly between each other. The same thing happened with the management. So as long as you're different nationalities, if you're a manager, if you can organize people, people see that. And this is, I think, the big thing that helps, to move this thing forward. Another thing, what I mentioned specifically in the UAE, that people that they study all the time. They study at work, they study after work, they study holidays. So the people constantly study, and of course you have a lot of conferences. So the people they come like they most of them in the same field and the same page. So it's not really hard, to push some innovations in UAE once like uh, surrounded by all of these innovations. So people try to always study something new, and for you it's really easier, to bring some innovative product here in the UAE because all the things will help you to innovate.
Great. Those are very nice insights. If somebody who's starting his new career or in the Middle East or other things, then people would benefit from things like the ones you've mentioned. And it's really important to have a culture where you read, where you take up new knowledge and other initiatives. And it's very important to understand cultures also. That is when you become a good leader. That is when you become a good team player as well.
Yeah.
So the other thing was I was reading through and I found that you have worked extensively with Web3 and decentralized finance. And how do you see these technologies influencing mainstream enterprise systems in the next few years? And how do you see that the fear, misunderstanding, and the and how it has completely changed the traditional world of finance in the in the recent past, and how will it change in the future?
Yeah, Mudit, because for most of the people, they coming from the traditional finance, the Web3 world. Like it looked dangerous before, and it really is. It is still now this kind of perspective. Some countries they start, to push it forward, to make some integrations. For example, Mastercard already start, to integrate with this Web3 world. The major exchange platforms like Bybit, they making the cards, special cards when you can like using your Mastercard and don't care what kind of currency do you have. But still, it's like every new technology, you have some stages. First stage, of course, it's fear and rejection. The second stage, people say, okay, maybe we're gonna get some of the technology. For example, money transfer. It's good. It's only a small part of the crypto, but still, okay, they started to use it. Then they said, okay, we can have some kind of Ethereum staking. So they started to adapt, and they wake up. Okay, we use most of the crypto services. So I think it's just a matter of time and a matter of like good engineering teams to bring this project and products to life. And one more important thing, like the professional working in the Web3 field, they are evolving. They're coming from traditional world of programming, and the skills you need in the Web3 a little bit more like complex that you have in the past world, because it's a lot more of responsibility, because the cost of mistakes here is it's like 100% more in other industries.
Absolutely. Uh, so there's one more counter question, or sort of a parallel question to is that uh, since you've worked in multicultural, multilingual, and other environments, how is communication a big factor in influencing decisions? And let's say while you are doing all of this, how does communication help to navigate through all of this, and miscommunication, and proper channel communication. What would be the biggest differentiator for you in all of this?
Yeah, like because for example, if you manage the complex projects, like the first barrier is the language. Everyone speaks the different language, even English. You have different accents, things like that. Other thing is like the way that you think your task should be executed is differs from the executor point of view. So here, what it helps, even if you work like in the webinar room, things like this, like Teams or uh, other communication platform use, for example, Zoom. You just have some, for example, clear backlog. You demonstrate the backlog, and you just double check if the people did they understand what you're asking from them. And also, like, it's really hard thing for most of the project management project leaders to make some kind of meeting notes after the big, um, especially big and complex conference. So when you have the meeting notes and you have action items, like, again, you have to double check if they are like assignee person, like do they understand what you ask from them. And again, like most of the times, again, you have to repeat after until you make this thing work here. Like the cost of one mistake of one team, it's multiplies. So you have to understand the pain points, push them, and it should be okay with
Uh,
communication. So.
Great. That's a good understanding to have. And the other part of this would be a more subset question to this would be, adapting to rapid shifts. We all know Dubai, Middle East is a very, very competitive market, and a lot of new technology, a lot of new domains are being introduced. If you see, Neom, which is being built in Saudi Arabia, that is bringing in all the gadgets and everything from AI to everything that's there. And same is the case with Dubai that we have seen in the last 25, 30 years. And it's a very fast moving and competitive landscape. How do you personally stay agile, and what advice would you give to teams navigating constant change in a fast paced economy like the Middle East or Dubai in specific? Uh, do you like going to networking events? Do you like to explore new technologies? And then Dubai really supports a lot of these platforms where there are events like that was 2020 Dubai, and multiple things that Dubai supports. And what is your advice to anybody who's working in such a competitive landscape?
Yeah, of course. Like in the place like Dubai and, for example, Abu Dhabi as well, there's a lot of not only the big conference like GITEX, Editech, but there's also a lot of small networking events and groups and some kind of meetups by the group of people. I attended like a lot of them, like engineering meetups, meetups for product tank meetups, like organized by Discovered Men, like it's a lot of events when you can meet the people and understand what's now the current state, of these technologies. Most of the people, they also come to this event to get some, the job, to expose their network. But to be honest, this event, they are not intended to get the job. It's a wrong idea to go to these events with the job search. You have to go, share your knowledge, and be curious and about these technologies that you try to explore. And another good advice also, of course, to listen to your management, because like when I worked in the Rack Bank, our CTO, Sakit said, I think really he just raised our attention regarding, ChatGPT and general AI. And he encouraged us, to start to use these tools of at least at our personal, for our personal. He said, okay, guys, we are in the regulated industry. We cannot use it like, but start to use it on your personal, for your personal purposes, and like try to study them. And then during the last 2 years, it's so booming. Like Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, all of these tools, they became natural. So it was a really good advice from him. And like, if you can listen what your boss told you, try to implement, you're gonna be like, I think, unstoppable.
That's great. So it's always nice to have an open mindset and also have the good listening skills when you're interacting with your boss, because it helps me a lot. I've learned a lot in the last 3-4 years since I've been associated here. And then the best advice that I've got is that you can turn anything into a sales opportunity if you're listening and you are really good at memorizing things, because your notes will help you, but your memory will help you more. Because if you and I meet at a conference, I take my notes but I don't remember your face. The next time we meet, I already also have to memorize who I met last time. And then
Yeah.
bringing those connections and having that mindset to have that spark with you is also really important. Because we also go to a lot of events, and last year we probably attended 10-12 events in the year, and we as a team, we did really good. But the best advice would be to explore these opportunities, to understand their outcomes, and then also to build up on the next year event, not attending one event a year, but attending that event every year brings you more perspective about how deep the discussions are, what was the last year's talking points, what are this year's talking points, and then that is when you create that group. So it helped us as an organization, as and personally to me as well, that as a person who interacts with people a lot, so not virtually, but I wanted to do it in person, so it helped me a lot more.
Okay.
Okay, so this brings us to an end of questions, regarding your experience, and what has the journey been and everything. I would like to bring up a new set of questions for you, and we call this a rapid fire round. We'll have fun, quick insights, and I would request you keep the answers really very snappy, and probably if you could add some fun tone to it, it would be great, because having too many serious discussions is something that is more like not bringing the entire community together. So let's keep it quick and fun. So uh, we have talked about technology. I want to ask you one emerging technology you are most excited about. Uh, let's say Web3 smart contracts with something that you have worked with recently. Any institutional staking assets that you've worked and everything around that.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest breakthrough in the. It's actually when the big institutional funds they start, to invest in the smart contracts, and this real world assets, collateralization, tokenization, I think is the biggest trend. Because it brings a lot of money to the market, and it's you want fun questions. So Dubai and Abu Dhabi, UAE likes money, so that's why they support this kind of things everywhere. For example, even yesterday they released some feature in the Telegram that allow you, for example, if you invest in the Ton Telegram open network tokens, some amount of money, like I think big amount, they're gonna give you the golden visa of the
Oh,
UAE. So
okay.
and of course you have to add some kind of shares, but I think it's the first country who allow these kind of things. So this is what smart contracts and all of these Web3 technologies do to the real world. In
Great,
some
great.
countries it's impossible. Here, like this, like magic.
Yes, absolutely. Having fun with technology is something that people have forgotten to do. It's more about the seriousness that technology brings to it. But if it's the fun element, then it inspires more people to do new things.
Yeah.
So again, talking about more about leadership. Is it a habit or a routine that which helps you keep sharp and to be on point?
One thing that I really like, I think I loved it through all my life, but the more opportunities, of course, came in the UAE. It's a kind of networking events when you speak with your peers, with other people from completely different industries, and I think it's even more interesting, when you try to understand the people who work, for example, in finance, or they work in logistics, or even event management. When you meet these people on the events, you kind of understand how much you don't know. So and try to share experience you already know, and I think you become better after this kind of events. Yeah, and it gives you the energy to work and do your routine. Yeah.
That is absolutely true. Networking events expose you a lot. You once you start conversing with these people, that you understand how little knowledge or how much more knowledge do you have with your counterparts in the industry. So One thing we always talk about is AI, and everybody is talking about AI. So what is the biggest myth that you wish people would stop believing about AI or cloud?
I think it's the myth that the AI will solve all your problems. So it's not never happened. For example, from the cloud perspective, most of the companies they went to the cloud. Some of them already shifted out of the cloud or build their own private cloud. From AI thing is like you have to train it, you have to understand it, you have to interpret AI, and also I think most of the people they're getting sick, a lot because of the huge amount of the posts, for example, over LinkedIn, over Telegram, everywhere is the AI. You're going to see the structure of AI and you start to get bored. So I think human element should be getting back to the AI, and of course they can be trained, but still, if you have some kind of personal thing into your content or things that you do, it's going to be better. Yeah.
Okay. Now a bit more personal in terms of your daily, routine. So what is your favorite book, podcast, or a resource for staying inspired?
Once I read a lot of books before, but most of them was like professional one, like other ones, like other kind of literature. But one of the book I read, it was about Ayn Rand. It's a book called Fountainhead. It's
Yes.
about the architect who built the New York and how he struggles with his innovations 20 years back. But people understand his idea only after the big period of time. But he was like innovator before the old everything like happens. So in this case, I think a lot of things in Dubai happening now. It kind of supports this kind of vision, but I think the UAE they try to support the people like this. For example, they give the golden visa for outstanding professional from all the fields that we have, and if you can show like that you have some idea, you have a lot of free time and passion to realize this idea, they're gonna provide you with that.
I no definitely agree with you about the Fountainhead. No, I read it about 10, 12 years ago, and that was a really inspirational book. And then the kind of designs, the kind of discussions that guy has, it looks really inspirational. I've read it twice. Once when I was no just no passed out from my graduation. I read it then. I was preparing for my no MBA entrance exams, and that was really very inspirational. I like that book. Anne Rand, she has a specific knack to writing, so really inspirational. One more thing before we end the rapid fire is one word that you'd use to describe your approach to innovation.
People. So you have to support the people ideas within your company and implement them in the enterprise. So I think at the beginning we talked about the top down approach from the management to the people, like to implement the ideas. But I think one of the most interesting idea also comes from the people from your team who work with the specific kind of technologies, and you have to understand a lot of people can generate ideas. And you can find this kind of people, understand, wow, it's a good idea, and try to support it and bring it to the level, when you get financing, you get some kind of business management support and implement this kind of ideas.
So one thing, as you mentioned, people are the most valuable resource, which, probably are the most undermined also. So people think
Yeah.
more about, let's say, technology, but without proper people or the trust in people, technology will never work. So, you mentioning people is really very, inspiring also, because management supporting its resources or its people is the utmost important thing for them to succeed and for the organizations to take the next step. Uh, so this brings us to the close of our rapid fire. Uh, Anything specific that or any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us, Leonid, and which would be any for the aspiring CIOs, CTOs, and technology leaders who are listening to us. What are the three things that you would want to share with them that would help them in their career and help them take bold decisions and have better interactions with people or their resources?
I think because we're all working, in some kind of companies, we first deliver some products for the customers. So biggest, I think we should start with the big customer focus and customer obsession. As for example, AWS told like customer obsession, other customer satisfaction. So first you custom focus on customer, then you have to build, trust and delivery within your team. You have to be confident that you can deliver the result that your customer want. And third major part, I think your company, one part of this kind of thing is the build the relations with your partners and vendors. Because most of the time, when you have some kind of idea, you don't have specific resources and your team cannot execute it. In this case, if you have some kind of number of trusted vendors, when you can give the tasks or they can help you with, or they bring their own expertise, but still, you're still responsible for outcomes. So this chain of 3 points gonna help you to succeed. So it's really important, three of them.
Great. So thank you so much for the insights. No, this has really been a very inspiring session for me to understand, a cross-cultural shift and to understand how, technology works in the Middle East market, and you coming from Russia and building yourself a career in the, Middle East, or specifically Dubai. And I see a lot of people taking this story and understanding how to proceed with somebody in your position, and to understand how everything works in the Middle East. So Leonid, thank you for sharing such sharp practical insights on everything from cloud to the future of Web3. Your perspective on leadership teams through constant change is really very invaluable. No, I've personally felt, no, I've learned a lot of things in the past 30-35 minutes that we have been in conversation. Would you like to add any note before we end this?
Yeah, thanks, Mudit, for the conversation. Just to like, I think everyone, if they have their own idea, if they're, for example, passionate of what they do, they can find the good opportunities for them and implement the things. Just as you told before, it's good to have some kind of awareness about something. So if you're aware about some kind of specific technology, you get to start to collect some kind of knowledge around it. For example, like me, like when I worked a lot, in the traditional finance, I just start to get acquainted and acquainted with Web3 technology. So I passed the Duke University 5-month class on this, but then I just kind of put it apart. And then, I start to meet the people with the Web3 around me, start to understand what kind of technology, attend the meetups. And through the long period, like really short period of time, I get this grasp, of technologies that I understand that actually basics is the same. Actually, between these technologies, only like it's the different perspective and different ideas that you have to understand. You have to speak with the people who actually did this, who invented this. And so once you have this kind of things, you can master anything, just only depends on your desire.
Great. Desire and inspiration is the thing that is really important in the current scenario that we live in. So thank you so much, Leonid, for your time, sparing your time with us and giving us, all the practical insights. This wraps up this edition of Leaders Lounge, brought to you by Quantum Dialogues. We'll polish today's conversation and release the episode soon. Watch out on our channels, and we'll share some premieres and insights. Until next time, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Leonard, for giving your time and giving us inspiring and detailed insights from your journey and your experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mudit. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
thanks.
you.
Yeah,
Bye
bye-bye.
bye.